Welcome to Good Evening KU Sports. I'm Jaden Hill, your host for All Things Sports. Coming up, we've got Emma Noble here to discuss what another Chiefs Super Bowl win means. With a higher Super Bowl winning percentage than the Patriots, it's safe to say that this win was more than just luck. Next, Brady Burjaili starts looking ahead in next year's NFL storylines with info on first-pick quarterbacks, who is going to take down Mahomes, and if the Bears will pass up on Caleb Williams. Finally, Taylor Brewer helps analyze possible offseason moves of the Chiefs, Bears, and Vikings to help us make sense of what is to come in 2024. All this and more coming up on Good Evening KU Sports.
The Kansas City Chiefs have been in and out of everyone's mouths and timelines for the past 6 months. Whether you've been a loyal fan since the Alex Smith days or just happen to be president of the Mahomes Hate Club, no one can take away the title they earned this year of Super Bowl 58 champions. Since they won, they were the best in the league this season, no denying it. But what about of all time? Had the Chiefs racked up enough wins to go from best during the season to full-on dynasty within the NFL? I'm here to talk about just that. Let's first talk stats. The Chiefs have won a total of 4 Super Bowls out of 6 appearances in their career. They took the L in the very first Super Bowl back in 1969, then fell short again in 1979. Since 2020, the Chiefs have won 3 out of 4 Super Bowls. We're in 2024 now. That's almost 4 consecutive appearances at one of the hardest games to get to in sports. Let's compare this record to the Patriots, who are arguably one of the greatest teams of all time. While they've appeared 11 times in the Super Bowl, they've won a total of 6 championships. The Chiefs have a higher winning percentage than the Patriots by 12%. Is that enough to put them under the same category they hold, an NFL dynasty? Now, to have a dynasty, you have to have a great leader. And Andy Reid is sure nothing short of that. This comes with the records he holds and the relationships he's built. Andy Reid is the first coach in NFL history to coach in 5 consecutive conference championship games. He owns 3 NFL Coach of the Year titles and is on track to being a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Now, it's hard to think of something better than Coach Reid's records, but his relationships with his players may just take the cake. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce have both praised about Reid's coaching numerous times, with Kelce going as far as saying that if Coach Reid leaves the Chiefs, he's right there with him. What's a dynasty without its leader?
Gotham's relying on one man to save us all.
Now, that edit you just saw was from everyone's For You pages on TikTok. It's hard to deny that Patrick Mahomes is one of the greatest in the league. With edits like that being posted everywhere, how can the Chiefs not be considered a dynasty? That's all for me. Now, here's Brady to talk about the NFL.
Thank you, Emma. For today, I have my top 3 way too early storylines for this upcoming NFL season. With the draft coming up in about 2 months, teams are looking to find a lot of new additions to their respective teams. The NFL will look a lot different next year, and I have a feeling that there will be a huge change on how teams perform based on their upcoming season, or on their offseason. Coming in at number 3, I have how many teams will take a quarterback in the first round. With the Vikings, Seahawks, Broncos, Raiders, Falcons, Patriots, Bears, and the Commanders all potentially looking for a new man under center, it raises the questions on how many gunslingers will be taken in the first round. With this class being stacked with great offensive talent, the question on what teams will take a shot in the QB in the first round, talents such as Michael Penix, Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy are all huge question marks when it comes to going in the first round. Personally, I love all 3 of them, especially McCarthy. Going an astonishing 26-1 throughout his career in Michigan, I can't pass up on a winner like that. I may be a little biased with him being from my hometown, but he's a great player and is going to make any NFL team happy. For my second NFL storyline, I got who is going to have the best chance at taking down Patrick Mahomes in the AFC. Patrick Mahomes is a different beast when it comes to dominating the AFC. Ever since Brady left the Buccaneers, there's been no one in the AFC that has been able to stop his reign of complete dominance. With Jackson, Allen, and Burrow, all 3 of these quarterbacks top 5 in the NFL, I expect one of them to compete with Mahomes once again. I believe that the 2 with the best chance, however, is that young stud down in Houston with C.J. Stroud and the veteran Aaron Rodgers, assuming he comes back to full health. Expect a huge year from both of these guys. My third and final storyline is one that hits a little bit too close to home for me. But the number one headline I have coming up for this NFL season is, do the Chicago Bears pass up on Caleb Williams and stick with Fields? Or is it time for the Bears to move on from Fields and draft a generational talent? With the Bears passing up on both C.J. Stroud and Patrick Mahomes, the Bears cannot afford to mess this up. Teams do not have the first overall pick too often, and are already trading it for last year puts the Bears in a very weird spot. The Bears are most likely going to move away from Fields, who at times shows signs of brilliance, but is too inconsistent to show that he deserves to earn the starting role. He will be a starter elsewhere, but that raises the questions as of where. Falcons and the Steelers are the favorites as of right now. That is it from me, and I'm going to hand it over to Tyler with some locks for the next NFL season.
Thank you, Brady. With the NFL season coming to an end, it's about time for a ton of analysts to try and predict what offseason moves all 32 NFL teams are going to make. However, most of these analysts are going to be wrong. Lucky for you, I'm not most analysts. So today, I want to give you a sneak peek at what these 3 NFL teams are going to do this offseason. So without further delay, let's get into it. I'll start off with the reigning, defending, 4-time Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs. Winning a Super Bowl is nothing new for the Chiefs over the past few seasons. What was new this year, though, is they had to do it as underdogs on the road. I believe this was in large part due to a lack of weapons around Mahomes. The Chiefs were able to fix it this year thanks to great coaching, but to think Andy Reid and Brett Veach aren't going to look to go after some top wide receivers this offseason would be crazy. I'd look for the Chiefs to go after guys like Mike Evans, Calvin Ridley, or even Darnell Mooney. But knowing what Veach prefers to do, the Chiefs would probably be looking to upgrade the position through the draft, which would also make re-signing their top defensive talent like Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed a lot easier. Now, I think the team everyone is taking a close look at this offseason is the Chicago Bears. They find themselves holding the number 1 overall pick for the 2nd year in a row. And to say I know what the Bears are doing with this pick would be a lie, because I don't even think the Bears know what they're doing. In my personal opinion, you got to give Fields a chance. Let him play with weapons like DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison Jr. together for at least 1 season before you move on from him. Now, I know Caleb Williams seems like he's a once-in-a-lifetime draft pick, and don't get me wrong, I like Caleb Williams. But every year, I think we get too hyped up about these once-in-a-generation type quarterbacks just for them to be mid. Look at Trevor Lawrence as an example. Listen, I'm Team Fields, and even if he doesn't work out, you'd still have Marvin Harrison Jr. and DJ Moore for your next quarterback to throw to. Chicago, please trade back a spot or 2 and draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, the last team I want to talk about today is the Minnesota Vikings. This team won't have a problem re-signing their top talent with over $24 million in available cap. The problem in Minnesota is they're too scared to commit to a long-term solution at quarterback, kind of like you with your past relationships. Look, Kirk Cousins is set to hit the market this spring, and the Vikings don't know if they want to extend him or find his replacement. And as if the pressure from the fan base isn't big enough, apparently their best player, Justin Jefferson, is making it even worse as he's refusing to sign any long-term extension with the team until the plan at quarterback has been figured out. Personally, I believe Kirk will come back on a 2 or 3 year deal, and the Vikings will look to follow Green Bay's model and draft a replacement sooner rather than later. This offseason is set to be one of the craziest ones to date, so buckle up. Anyways, that's going to be all from me today. I hope everyone enjoyed my offseason predictions. I'm Tyler Brewer. Now let's send it back to our host, Jaden.
Thanks, Tyler. I will definitely make sure to keep an eye out for all those crazy off-season moves. But that's not all. Coming up, we've got some important news on golf, basketball, and the weather. To make sure you are fully prepared for the sports week ahead, stay tuned till after the break. KU women's basketball is on a 5-game winning streak after beating BYU on Saturday 70-62. Caroline Spath is here to break down the 4th win in that streak against Cincinnati last week. The team has managed an 11-1 home season this year, which speaks volumes to the women's basketball program and the one-of-a-kind home court advantage of Allen Fieldhouse. As the weather starts to get warm and spring is in the air, the KU men's golf team is ready to pick up where they left off last fall. With some notable players like Will King and Gunnar Broyne, there is a lot to look forward to. Colton Kinnan is here to give us the first glimpse of what the season could look like for the Jayhawks.
Thanks, Jaden. KU women's basketball secured a beautiful 75-60 win at home over Cincinnati on Wednesday. The Jayhawks are now 11-1 at home this season, showing just how electric Allen Fieldhouse really is. Holly Kerskeeter was the Jayhawks' top scorer with 23 points and 7 rebounds. Tayana Jackson posted 6 blocks, 18 points, and 13 rebounds, recording her 11th double-double this season. Samaya Nichols scored 13 points, reaching double digits for the 12th game in a row. She also added 6 assists. Yvette Mayberry finished the game with 10 points and 4 assists. Kerskeeter and Nichols started the game off strong with early threes against the Bearcats and were able to hold Cincinnati scoreless for over 3 minutes in the first quarter, leading 22-16. Cincinnati was able to bite back at the Jayhawks during the second quarter, making it a 2-point game with about 5 minutes left in the half. Luckily, KU held their ground, scoring 11 points to lead 40-30 going into halftime. KU dominated the third quarter, only allowing 8 Bearcat points while posting 20 themselves. Unfortunately for the Jayhawk defense, they showed some weakness in the final quarter, allowing Cincinnati to outscore KU 22-15. Luckily, the Jayhawks maintained the lead to take the win. The team then traveled to Utah on Saturday to face BYU and got their 5th straight win, 70-62. Zakiya Franklin was the star of the show against the Cougars, scoring a season-high 24 points. Mayberry and Kerskeeter had great nights of their own with 19 points and 16 points respectively. The first quarter was back and forth, but Franklin was able to hit a 3 during KU's final possession, allowing the Jayhawks to end the quarter 13-11. Quarter 2 was extremely even. KU battled some foul trouble, but with another last-minute 3, this time by Kerskeeter, the half ended tied at 31. KU started off quarter 3 with a bang, scoring 6 points in less than 2 minutes, but unfortunately the Cougars bounced back with an 8-0 run. Mayberry answered with scores in the final 2 KU possessions, closing out the quarter 46-43 in favor of the Jayhawks. Franklin held down the fort for KU in the final quarter, scoring 10 points. BYU did their best to fight back, but a 5-0 run from the Jayhawks, followed by 5 free throws in the last 3 minutes, kept the win in the hands of Kansas. KU is now 15-10 on the season and will travel to Waco next to play the Baylor Bears on Wednesday at 7 p.m. That's all I have for you today, Jayhawks. I'll send you to Colton.
Thank you, Caroline. As winter sports are starting to wrap up here in Lawrence, spring sports are just getting underway. One spring sport a lot of fans are looking forward to is men's golf. Kansas men's golf swings their way into the spring season in La Quinta, California at the PGA West Greg Norman course this week. After a slow start to the fall, the KU's men's golf team really took its stride in the final 2 golf tournaments of the season. The Jayhawks finished in the top 8 in both of those tournaments, placing 5th in the Fallen Oak Collegiate Invitational and 8th in the Kannapolis Classic. After a strong finish to the fall season, the KU men's golf team looks to pick up right where they left off. Head coach Jamie Brummel and the team are not ranked in the top 25 to start the spring season, but the team is poised to raise some eyebrows this week. The Jayhawks get to go against multiple top 25 teams this week, including number 5 ranked Washington. Along with the team's individual success, multiple Jayhawks had great fall seasons individually. Sophomore Will Keene really ended his fall season on the right note as he posted a 5-under round of 67 and then followed it up with an even better 6-under round of 65 in the last tournament in Maui. Will Keene really burst onto the scene last season for the Jayhawks as he was one of the best players on the team as a freshman. Will Keene is the only player on the team to clinch a spot in the NCAA championship tournament last season, and in order to clinch that spot, Keene had to win an 8-hole playoff battle against senior Hugo Townsend from Ole Miss. Keene not only wants to continue his success, but he also wants to get better this season. Another player to keep an eye on this season is Gunnar Broin. Broin is heading into his senior season for KU and wants to carry over his success from last season. Broin had 3 top 5 finishes in the spring season and even made SportsCenter top 10 when he had a 200-yard hole out. Broin is definitely the leader of this team, and he and Keene are the go-to guys this season. A lot of fans are excited for this season, and it will certainly be a lot of fun to see how the veteran KU golf team performs. The expectations are high in Lawrence, and I know that this KU team is ready. That's all I have, and now back to Jaden.
Thanks, Colton. I'm excited to see what this team has in store. Stay tuned till after the break to hear some more sports news from the Good Evening KU Sports team.
Yeah, I always just clap in this part.
This is where everyone's talking amongst themselves. Do you know how to do it? Do you know how to do it?
Are we supposed to smile?
When do we start? Somebody over here already started.
Can we talk about the piccolo part? It's the most complicated one.
It is. If you listen, you're doing it when the band's not playing.
You have to tell me when it starts. I still don't know.
Here we go. happen now.
No humps.
Nailed it.
I practiced this morning.
Mine was just two people.
It has a right and a wrong way of doing it. No. Wrong.
I like my way better.
I don't know how to
One,
do
two,
the
three,
end.
four.
It's just I don't know the
Sorry.
head.
It's hard by yourself.
The NBA All-Star Game is always a lot of fun and a great way to showcase talent, with many returning stars holding their own, such as Lillard defending his MVP title and Curry winning another three-point contest. To give more information on the event, Harrison Triplett will take it from here.
Thank you, Jaden. The NBA All-Star Weekend could not have been better for Damian Lillard as the Bucks superstar walked away with his second consecutive three-point contest title and the All-Star Game MVP. While there were several controversies surrounding the weekend in Indianapolis, there were several highlights which include Lillard's memorable performances. All-Star Saturday night included the NBA Skills Competition, three-point contest, and dunk contest. Damian Lillard was able to defend his crown by defeating Atlanta Hawks' Trae Young and Minnesota Timberwolves' Karl-Anthony Towns in the final round. After a hot start to the final round, Lillard cut it close by missing 4 potential game-winning shots, but Dame Time did what he always does and drilled the final shot to score his 25th and 26 points to win his second consecutive three-point contest. Take that, all you Dame haters. Dame wasn't the only sharpshooter to make big news on Saturday night, however. The NBA also featured a special challenge between Steph Curry and the WNBA's Sabrina Ionescu. Sabrina impressed by knocking down 9 of her first 10 shots and scoring 26 total points. This was after Ionescu elected to shoot from the NBA three-point line, despite being recommended, primarily by Kenny Smith, to shoot from the WNBA three-point line instead. However, it was not enough to take down the greatest shooter of all time, as Steph had a very impressive performance himself. Curry would go on to score 29 points, including hitting 9 of his final 10 shots, to take home the crown. The three-point contests were followed up with a heavily criticized dunk contest. There have been several complaints over 2 main issues. Number 1, somehow the judges got even worse. The scoring is way off. Every single dunk is judged incorrectly. It feels like the better the dunk, the worse the score. It's insane. Number 2, the majority of NBA fans seem underwhelmed with not only the performances of the contest, but the contestants as well. The primary complaint with this is that there's a lack of all-stars and superstars in the dunk contest. There have been several discussions regarding potential solutions to get more of the big names such as LeBron, John Morant, and Zion Williamson into the contest. But that being said, the G League star Mac McClung once again took home the dunk contest trophy, winning his second consecutive title on Saturday night. Sunday's All-Star Game was also heavily criticized for the lack of defense and overall effort from both teams. The Eastern Conference pulled away with a 211-186 win over the West as Dame Lillard added to his weekend hardware, taking home All-Star Game MVP with 39 points, including 2 half-court bombs in the game. Indianapolis' own Tyrese Halliburton had a great showing himself, including 32 points and hitting his first 5 threes early in the first quarter. Thank you very much. Now on to an update on the weather from Davis.
Thanks so much, Harrison. Looking behind me right now, we see a little bit of blue skies, a little bit of haze, but we're feeling a lot of bit of that wind outside. It's 55 degrees currently. Dew point is at 21, humidity over at 46%. It feels like 53 degrees outside, but not really because of the wind. The wind is really rushing right now. It's northern winds of 13 miles an hour, so we're starting to feel a little bit of those colder temperatures, not like what it says is 55 degrees. But that being said, we are still above average for our regular set of temperatures. We're 10 degrees above our normal high average and only 3 degrees above our normal low average. I'm trying to say that it should feel like 77 degrees, our record average, but not so much like our record low right there. Concurrent temperatures outside are over on the viewing area right now. We see a little bit of similar temperatures over everywhere. Leavenworth, Lawrence, and Topeka are all at 55 degrees. And over in Kansas City and Ottawa's down at 56, but Kansas City is a little bit cooler over at 52 degrees. Now our dew point temperatures with that, Leavenworth is at 26 degrees and Topeka is over at 15 degrees. So that's an 11-degree raise in the dew point temperatures, which doesn't seem like much, but if I'm up in Leavenworth and I go call a buddy down in Topeka and I said, let's both go outside, the buddy down in Topeka is going to feel those colder temperatures as opposed to me up in Leavenworth right now. Satellite imagery right now. We had some action coming over here with some clouds. Those are going to start to wheel all the way, and we have some movement going on up towards the northwest of the United States. Northern Nevada and southwestern Idaho. We see some rain showers coming through. That's not going to start a big storm system or anything. That's kind of just going to breeze right past us. But that being said, for tonight, our low is going to be 29 degrees, mostly clear skies, chilly temperatures after midnight. Humidity is over at 88%. We got light winds going towards the west, 5 miles an hour. Diving a little bit deeper into tonight's hours, though, 7 p.m. is at 45 degrees, and our wind starts to shift a little bit. We start at strictly south, and then we move towards the west towards those later hours come on in. 1 a.m. is around 33 degrees. But for tomorrow's temperatures, we're starting off your day 31 degrees, 8 a.m. And check this out. Over at 4 p.m., we get up to 66, which is very impressive for February. It's not going to feel like February. It's going to feel more like March or April, which I'm looking forward to. But take a look at that wind down there. South winds of 12 miles an hour. So it is still going to be windy, but at least we have the 66 degrees for that. Now, I know there's not a lot of sports happening here, but for the basketball game on Saturday, it's going to be nice. It's going to be a high of 66 degrees, so you can go ahead and tune in to that. You can walk to the game if you want. And look at this, Wednesday is going to be a high of 70 degrees, so go outside, put the jackets away, and go enjoy it. Go enjoy every single day this week because these temperatures are not here to stay. That's all for weather today. Thank you very much. Now back to you, Jaden.
Thanks, Davis. It sounds like some great information for those heading to some sporting events in the next week. This is all for this edition of Good Evening KU Sports. Be sure to check out our socials on Instagram, which is goodevening_sports. Rock chalk, and we'll see you next week.